Hello, everyone. Welcome this evening. I'm Dr. Mindy Njimo with Homeschool Moms Academy. I have Jennifer Champion with me. She is a homeschool mom who is walking this journey with me. And I have Luke Barringer with me, who is my youngest son. So, Jennifer, I'll let you say hello and then we'll jump right into Luke.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining. Happy to have you. Looking forward to having our chat this evening and covering some ground on some struggles with overweight children and how we can overcome those.
Yeah. So I'm going to first of all show you a picture. So Luke, when he was younger, so I'll just tell you a little bit of background. Our family, when I was growing up, I didn't know this until recently, but my mom hated fruits and vegetables. So I never ate a whole lot of fruits and vegetables growing up. I was eating potatoes and meat. And so I was raising my children the same way. Lots of meat and potatoes. And in fact, Luke was my child who loved only French fries and chicken nuggets for the longest time,
Sounds
which
like
was that's all he wanted to eat all the time. So, Luke, welcome this evening. I'll let you introduce yourself, and then I'm going to show a picture of how you looked after you talked just for a minute.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Luke Barringer. I am the son of Melinda Njimo, as mentioned previously. But now I have a job down in Charlotte. I do fitness in my free time. I used to run track in high school, and I actually was introduced to just fitness in general by my brother. But I really struggled with weight loss when I was younger, and I looked for every fast fashion trend and fast diet that you could ever imagine, and eventually found my way there. But it is definitely a struggle. So I'm glad to have some people interested.
Yeah, absolutely. And when Luke was young, he became extremely overweight to the point that it affected him mentally. So, Luke, talk to us a little bit about that. Like, how did you realize, first of all, that you were overweight? And then what was the mental kind of weight, I guess, that you carried with that?
So when I was younger, I would say a lot that I really struggled more than anything with my weight was due to the fact that I really had nothing else to go to. Like at the end of the day, I would come home in the afternoons and I would read books, and I always thought that physical fitness was going to be um, something that I put off and never really worried so much about. But it's always nagging in the back of your mind if you're somebody who really struggles with weight loss. If you are overweight, it takes a toll not only on your ability to interact with others, but also your ability to um, see yourself and look at yourself in the mirror. Like every time I would see myself when I was younger, I thought of myself as lesser of a person as a result. Like I really, really, I thought that it was something that I could never overcome. But as time has gone on, I've realized that fitness is fun more than anything. It's a good way to create a schedule. It's a good way to learn about yourself. It's a good way to interact with other people. It's a great social activity. And at this point in my life, it's something that I enjoy more than anything else. When I come home in the afternoons, the first thing I do is change and go straight to the gym. I just got back from the gym just now because that's what I look forward to at the end of every day. So.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So, changing some of your habits actually was crucial for you to lose the weight and then to keep the weight off. I know that you kind of bounced back a little bit in high school where you put on some weight, but talk about what are some of those habits that you had to switch out? Eating, exercise, like what were some of the things that you had to change about yourself to make the shift in your life?
So I think that weight loss and pursuing a transformation, everybody says it's about a change in lifestyle. You know, you hear that all the time, but it's definitely true. I think that your environment has more of a impact on the way that you live and the way that you eat and the way that you exercise than anything else around you. The way that your family interacts with you, the way that your friends interact with you, the way that people see you. When I was younger, I definitely got into this role of like, you know, the chubby, funny kid. Like everybody thought that I was hilarious, but you know,
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Just trying to reset your microphone. Your mic went out just for a minute. So I couldn't hear your last part there. The sound went off for a second. Can you put that sound back on?
hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So the last thing we heard was
I
people view
cannot
you
hear you.
the funny chubby kid, and that was very true, and I think you acted out almost in your behavior because you created this image of yourself. So go a little bit from there then. You got
Can you
it?
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nope. No.
sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, the change that my brother went through was the biggest thing that made me want to change in my life. He started running track in high school. He got very fit, and he decided to really push me for something better in my life. I was like 5'5". I weighed like 210 pounds at one point. I was getting really, really severely overweight. I could tell it in the way that I felt. I did not. My mood was bad. Every day when I would come home from school, I just kind of like laid around and read books. And I always thought that my education, my like book smarts, were going to make up for the difference, but that was not the case. No matter how much you want to think that it is, or how much you feel like you can make up for the shortcomings in other parts of your life, everything to me is kind of on a balance. So you have to balance your school life with your activity, and you have to balance that with your family life and your social life. So it is kind of all on a pendulum. But when my brother saw that kind of change in his life and really started getting competitive with running track and cross country, I followed in his footsteps, and he was the main one who pushed me to get outside more, be active. I would go on runs with him in the afternoons, and even now, still, I'll always tell him that I'm faster than him, stronger than him. He still pushes me to be better. We definitely have a lot of competition that we will always share for sure, just because we're brothers, even though we're 5 years apart. So I think that's a big part of it. You know, if you can create an environment where you have a competition with somebody, whether it's your friends or your family, just somebody that can motivate you to do better. I think that's super important. Um, and making a habit out of that. So you want to not make it something like a weekend thing. You want it to be you want it to be every day. If you can even in the smallest way. Like I know some people will say, oh, you don't want to work out every day, you'll get burnout. I don't think that's true. I think every single day you should do something to be active, even if it's playing tennis or playing volleyball or going for a run, going for a walk. I think you should do something active because that is what is going to solidify it in your life and make it long term, make it something that lasts and something you will want to do again and again and again. And make it part of your schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. I think even the one of the things that I've tried to do is make sure I'm getting steps every day. So even if it's steps every day, if it's lifting weights 3 days, 4 days a week, whatever it is, 5 days, whatever, but I love that just being active every day. And also, I really do appreciate the having a buddy, having someone to help keep you accountable. Because really, honestly, Matt was there to keep you accountable, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, he kept me accountable. And then even when he wasn't around, I had a friend at school. His name was Cody. And when I didn't see my brothers much when he was working and when I was in school, every day in the afternoons, I would, see my buddy Cody. And he joined the swim team our senior year of high school. And I decided not to. But even still, we were competing because um, we would go out on runs on the weekends. We would always race each other. So I think having camaraderie with people and putting yourself in a community that supports your own growth is super important.
Yeah, awesome. And so, talk a little bit more about that mental shift. I know you kind of mentally shifted from the funny fat kid to now mature adult, but how did that happen over time? I think a lot of times with weight loss programs, we think, oh, I'm going to do this really quick. And you may get the weight off, and you did, but then you had a little bit of a rebound during your high school years and you put some of that weight back on. But talk about again some of the long-term mental shifts of how you have to think daily to keep that weight off and to keep yourself like fit to where you want to be.
Right. So that's a great point. I think the main, and that kind of gets back to the main reason why I say you need to do something every day. Because even when I was in high school, so my sophomore and junior year, I was running track, but in the off season, when I wasn't running track, I got lazy. I didn't enjoy running as much as I used to, and I didn't pivot. I didn't want to do something else. I just saw myself as the runner. And that's when it really took another push from like the community, the network of people that I had built around me, um, to do something different and to pursue activity in a different way. So again, my friend Cody, he pushed me to start going to the gym. I started lifting weights with him when I was a senior in high school. And another thing that we did the summer of my senior year was we went out and played volleyball in the afternoons, just once or twice a week, something to break up my routine. So to me, that didn't feel like working out. I didn't have to like, force myself to do that. I wanted to go hang out with my friends and we played volleyball. So it was kind of a win-win scenario. Um, so I think that is probably the main token of advice that I would give as far as weight loss overall is concerned. Is just have a friend group of people or push your other friends to pursue weight loss on their own so that you can all do it together because it's much
Yeah.
easier that way. As far
Yeah.
as a mental shift for me personally when I was younger, I think the biggest thing because most of my weight was lost between the like summer of my seventh grade year to the beginning of my eighth grade year was that I was very highly motivated to impress other people. So I wanted to come back just like everybody wants to, and I wanted to, you know, have, six-pack abs, and I wanted to impress everybody when I got back from school. So I did. I went out and I worked out every day, and I got really good at running, and then I, ran cross country my 8th grade year high school, and it did impress everybody, and everybody was definitely more friendly to me as a result. They thought it was really impressive. Um, so being motivated and being able to motivate yourself is an important factor. Um, I'd say for me, all that took was a shift of my focus from academics, which is something that I had pursued so much in my earlier youth, to all of a sudden, instead of reading an hour a day, I would run an hour a day, or do push-ups or a core workout or jump rope or just anything. I would do something active instead of spending that extra hour reading, and then the rest of my day I would do whatever else I wanted to do because I got my workout in that day. So
Yeah, that's
that
great.
made
I'm
it.
going to share a picture of what Luke looks like right now that he shared with me at the gym. And Luke, I want you to just talk about confidence level. Like, here's your pictures now. Here's your pictures now. But what did this do for your confidence overall?
So, and this is kind of an interesting thing. I think confidence isn't, to me, something that I take from being super fit. Like, I get my confidence from, again, like the people around me knowing that I am able to interact with others well. I think honestly, confidence for me comes more from the social aspect. So I am not a a token um, speaker for getting super ripped and then showing off all the time, and letting everybody know that you're the strongest guy in the room, or you can run faster than everybody else, or whatever. I think that your actions will speak for themselves. But I think the main reason that I am able to interact with others so well, and the main reason that I've done well in not only school and working with my peers, but also in my career now, is that I really, really practiced. I worked a lot with other people. I worked in, I waited tables. I worked in the service industry for 8 or 9 years, and beyond that, now I work in downtown Charlotte, working with a group of other people um, in a completely different atmosphere. But those base skills really carry over a lot. So I think the main thing for me is staying active and being able to pursue your goals in the meantime. So again, you get out of work, you go in the afternoon and hit the gym, or play tennis, or play volleyball, or go out with your friends and do something together. Just knowing how to spend your free time wisely.
Yeah, that's good. And then Jennifer, talk just a minute. So Jennifer's son Miles is about the age, and he became very heavy. Jennifer, talk about your struggle with Miles, and then let's just see maybe if Luke has some advice or kind of what you see with Miles and what you see maybe going forward.
Yeah, so Miles is my chicken nugget French fry boy. he he's 6 years old, and was pushing about 90 something pounds. Just really big boy for 6, and so we began to implement some exercise and let him do some goals. But I've just noticed, people are kind of bullying him, and putting him down, and and he's starting to see the effects of it. So we're really trying to help him with a diet shift, and I even have some holistic drops that help him with his appetite, and just really trying to keep him on a regimen to make sure that he exercises, and try to build up his self-esteem. But that's just kind of what we're going through right now. But I can say in the last 2 weeks, he's lost probably about 7 pounds. So with just everything that we're doing for him, and he notices it, because even today we went to the lake and he pulled off his shirt and he was, prancing around, and but I was like, well, buddy, we still have a little ways to go, but I do see his confidence being built up some.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
sweet.
And so, Luke, talk about that. Like, Luke was a big eater too, and I had Miles spend the night at my house, and I didn't realize how much food Miles could eat. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to the wrong thing because Miles ate so much food. But Luke, talk about that. Like, how did you stop eating? Because we're a family, we eat a lot. We love food. Like, we don't do a lot of other and addictive behaviors, but we love some food, right, Luke? So tell
I
us.
I do. I love food. Honestly, I may not be. I'm not the biggest proponent of like extreme dieting and extreme nutrition. I'm never going to be that person. I'm sure that y'all agree they are not any fun. They're hard, and usually they're short lived. For me, anyway, I've always struggled with that. So I think the best way to combat that in my life has been to outwork my appetite. So, and I think that is way easier than honestly you probably think it is. Like if you are doing anything, if you do a sport for an hour a day, I could say with a reasonable amount of certainty that you could eat whatever you wanted that day and be completely fine.
Yeah.
Um, I think that physical activity is the remedy for a lot of things. I think that exercise, just being outside, makes you, it triggers like, it definitely triggers some things in your dopamine rush at the end of the day, and you feel like you need to accomplish something. And I think that appetite plays a role in that too. So you mentioned, the drops that help suppress your appetite. Well, another thing about exercising is that if you exercise hard, you don't want to eat after that because you feel like you're going to throw up. Like if you go to, I mean, if Miles was enrolled in like a soccer club or a tennis club or, any kind of public sport,
Yeah.
when he got home in the afternoons, the last thing that you probably want to do immediately is eat,
Yeah, well, like even like right now, so we ate just a little while ago, and he had his little piece of fish and his broccoli, and and as soon as he's done, he's like, "Mom, can I have a popsicle?" And it's just like this food, like he loves food. I'm like,
it is.
buddy,
So boredom is the number one, like,
yeah,
that is the number
Yep.
one cause for appetite. If you're bored, you're going to eat. I do the same thing. When I was a little kid, I used to sit down and read and study, and my brain's working, but I'm not doing anything. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to eat. I'm going to go get the Nutella jar, and I'm going to grab a bag of pretzels and dip them and eat them. And sit
Well,
down.
and I also think that it's a comfort thing. When
It
you're
is.
struggling with your self-esteem and how you look at yourself, well, it's better for me to put something in my mouth, because I'm feeling good when I'm eating, when I get what I want. So let me just keep doing it. So we're really trying to change that perspective, and how he's addressing his comfort needs. And
So let me ask you a question. What does Miles do to be active?
he rides his bike, he rides his scooter, he swims, he does exercise every day. He sets goals for his exercise. Like one of his main goals every day is he tries to do sit-ups. Like today he did 78. That was his goal that he wanted to do. And
Okay.
so he'll set a goal for what he does. And then usually he'll go out and ride his bike for an hour or scooter. And then, now we've just started swimming because the pools are open and the lakes are open. So we were swimming for like 3 hours today. And so that's kind of what we're doing. But we don't have any active sports where we are right now. We're kind of in a transition phase, and I don't know where we're going to be in the next few months. So I don't have him enrolled in anything, which
Okay.
I want him to be so bad.
No, understood. Understood. Do you have like a local gym nearby?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I have to look into it because where we live, we have to drive like an hour and a half just to go anywhere.
I understand. Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. Like convenience definitely makes a big difference. When I
Yeah.
was growing up, I'd never considered going to the gym. But honestly, nowadays that I go to the gym, I go in there and I see all these programs for like kids swim, kids
Yeah.
pickleball, like all these leagues and stuff that I could have been a part of when I was growing up, and now I'm aged out. I can't do any of that stuff. So I just go in there and lift weights every day, but I see the flyers all the time,
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
baseball league and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did have them in T-ball when we lived in Tennessee, but then we moved to Georgia, and I never put them in anything. And now we're moving out here soon too. So
it's hard, especially during transitions like that. Like when I was
Mhm.
younger and I was moving around a little bit more, it was a lot harder to create sort of that routine.
Yeah.
When I got settled down and I got into school, and I was able to make some friends and really like do a good job in my academics, and I did well in school. That was once I got all that, like the basics done.
Yeah.
I was able to focus on my athletics. But honestly, he is very young, so I think a lot of that is probably baby fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think some of that was the case for me as well. Like when a kid hits a growth spurt, that is a huge confidence booster. Number one, and number two, it makes it a lot easier to lose weight. So I lost, 60 or 70 pounds, but I also gained 5 inches in height in the span of like 2 years. So it will make a big difference as he gets older.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll make it better.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's
so activity too. Jennifer lives on a big hill, and just like you say, backyard activities, even volleyball. Just we put up a net the other day. We were playing badminton, and I'm telling you, that'll get you out of breath right there. Just running around. So just simple games in the yard can go a long way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Luke, we're about to wrap it up, but what other words of advice would you have for those who are struggling with, or even words of encouragement? Because not everybody loses their weight. Like some heavy young children grow up to be heavy adults. So how can we make sure there is a transformation? Jennifer Miles is on that transformation journey. But really, the reality is there's a lot of children who grow to adults and they don't go through that transformation. So Luke, just talk to that just for a minute.
So that's a good point. It is hard, and it's definitely a battle that never stops. Like even now, sometimes when I look at myself in the mirror, even though I feel like I'm in good shape, I still think like, well, I could, this would be better if I had less of like a double chin, or like I had less fat on my cheeks, or like, if I had less fat on my arms, if I had like, better veins that showed and stuff like that. Everybody has goals. Everybody wants to get better, no matter how fit you are. And that's something that I've learned talking to these like super fit people that go to the gym, and they're like, it's a lifestyle for them, whether they're in the military or whatever, but their job is just to be fit, personal trainers. And every single one of them looks at you and says, oh, wow, you're in great shape. And then they look at themselves and they'll be in better shape than you are. And they'll say, I'm like atrocious. I look awful. So it's a mental battle. It is a mental battle. But at the same time, I know that I'm in good shape, regardless of what I might say, or nobody else is pointing out the negative things about me. You're your biggest critic at the end of the day. So I think keeping that in mind is definitely very healthy. I think it's healthy to remember that you need to check yourself, give yourself credit where credit's due. I'm really proud of what I've done, and I'll continue to do it. I really love working out. I love being fit. It gives me the opportunity to go out and do things, to really enjoy my life. I've had the ability to hike if I want to. I could go swim. I could go to the lake if I wanted to. I could water ski. And just having that also kind of gets back to your confidence point from earlier. Just the ability to do things not only with yourself but with other people. Um, I have a couple books that I could recommend. The first one, which is like the most important one to me, and one that y'all might have already read, but it's called Atomic Habits by
Yeah.
James Clear. That was a really, really great book. I loved that book. And that is what set me on this path to begin with.
Yeah. That's a good
Pursuing
one. Yep.
pursuing habit creation and remembering to do something every day. Uh,
A good
because
one.
it gives you a lot of really helpful tips and tricks to remember. Um, and then another one, kind of on a side note, but also completely related to health, is Why We Sleep. I think by Matthew Walker is the gentleman who wrote that book. That is a great book as well. And I think that sleep is just as important as exercise.
Absolutely.
So, just a side note.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good resources, especially Atomic Habits. Definitely Why You Sleep. It's healing your body, rejuvenating you for the next day. So awesome.
And if you exercise, if you really heavily get into exercise, sleeping 8 hours a night is absolutely crucial. If you get less sleep, you will get injured more often. I have done that. Especially if you really start getting into working out, and then you work out, you come home in the afternoons, you go to sleep, you wake up at 6 in the morning. It's hard to get enough sleep, but you have to prioritize it, because if you don't, you'll treat other people worse. You'll recover worse. You'll be sore all the time. It's just not.
Yeah, good advice. Good overall life advice in general. You're happier when you sleep. Your
Yeah.
body heals when you sleep. So definitely general overall great advice for sure. All right, final words. Jen, what's your final words for this conversation? Help for moms.
Well, help for moms, I should say, get your kid on a regimen, exercise one, and help build their mental habits, how their perspective of what they think of themselves, give them encouraging words. And Luke, I just want to say that I'm proud of you. I haven't seen you in years, but I remember you as a chubby little boy when I was to go to your mom's house, and how much you've changed. And I'm so ecstatic to see where you've come. It's awesome.
Thank you. Good to see you.
All right. Well, I'm going to include some links below this streaming, definitely some links that will be helpful that we talked about on this show. And thank you both for being here. I think it's so important. We hit on so many great things. I hope that something hit you about, yes, this is what I need to do to try to get us moving in the right direction. So thank you so much. And I really appreciate your time. And we'll see you next time.